happening? Just sending out a message. I was just messaging. I was just sending the message to you guys to let you know that I was live on YouTube. Good. Hairs everywhere. Everywhere. How's your day? How are you doing? It is January 13th, which is a beautiful day for me. It's my grandson's birthday, which is really awesome because I got all of my books. I'm so happy to hold all three of them in my hands and right in time for my grandson's birthday. So we might actually do a little bit of a read through of one of these books, right? Super excited about it. So the first book that I read that I wrote is Jessie Learns to Create Calm Spaces. And this follows the story of Jessie, who comes from a home where her parents are separated. And every time she goes to leave her dad's house, she deals with anxiety and sometimes panic. So her dad learns calm spaces, and then he teaches it to her when she's at his house, so that she can learn grounding, breath work, mindfulness, all of that stuff. So there's a whole technique to follow. So your earthing, your breath work, wetting your palette, and then firing up your imagination. And it has all these beautiful little tear outs that you can use, because another part of the process is color coding and emotion. So your kid can carry with them either one of the ones that are pre-colored, or they can color it if the color that they associate with is not available as one of the pre-colored pages. Or they can have a spare, right? They could give one to a friend, and their friend could color it in whatever color is their color to keep them calm, or to create joint, or what other emotion that they want. The second book that I wrote is The Adventures of Jack and Nanny B, Monster Edition. And I wrote this one for my older grandson. When he found out that I wrote this book, he asked me if I would write a story for him. And when I was down visiting him, we had done this diamond art with these little monsters. So anyway, that became the inspiration for the story, is these two diamond art monsters. And it is a series of books that I'm going to write, but this is just the first one in that series. And it follows the story of Jack and his nanny Bee, who go and hunt monsters, and their power is love and light. So they go and hunt monsters with love and light. And monsters really are just little girls and boys who have been made to feel like they are unloved and unwanted. So once they get taught that they do belong and they experience love, then they turn back into the little boys and little girls that they were. And then the last book that I wrote was for my younger grandson, Charlie. So it's Choo Choo Charlie and His Adventures with Nanny B. Charlie's 3, so this was a much more appropriate book for him, which is no spitting, no biting, no hitting, and no kicking, which is a great stuff that kids at that age definitely need to learn. And he goes on an adventure with his nanny Bee and meets all of these different animals, and they do these things, and Nanny Bee's telling them lessons. And at the end of the book, Charlie is the one that tells the animals what they shouldn't do. So it's a really cute book about learning those lessons about what's appropriate at 3 years of age, but in a fun way. So those 3 books, I'm so excited that I finally have them in my possession again. Who knows, I might give them away and then I'll have to get them again, and so the saga will continue. But yes, nervous system regulation, emotional intelligence, and helping with behaviors, right? So today is a full moon. It's a full moon in Cancer. So the sun is in Capricorn, the moon is in Cancer. Capricorn is considered to be the dad of the astrological wheel. Me too. He makes me very happy. The dad of the astrological wheel, whereas Cancer's the mom. And it can also be the difference between home with Cancer and work with Capricorn. So there's going to be those oppositions that are happening with this particular alignment in the moon. So that you're going to feel that pull or that tension between work and home, or between that receiving and doing. So the hustle and grind versus rest and recovery is potentially going to come up. There's going to be, that battle between nurturing yourself and being compassionate, and also being disciplinary and structured. So the Cancer energy, because it's water, but also because it's the feminine energy, is very flowy, whereas the masculine energy is very structured. So Capricorn being a very structured sign. So it's really that battle between structure and flow. And you want to have both. You want to have both. It's really, there's certain things that, you have to make sure that you do every day. Maybe your meditation, you set that up and you're like 10 and 10, that's it, I'm done. I'm doing my meditations at 10 and 10, and without fail, you do them all the time. That's the structure that needs to exist. So there may be certain things that you have to assign yourself. Physical activity might be something else that you need to regularly schedule in. But the rest of the time, you want to make sure that you're flowing, right? You're flowing into doing the things that you're being gently guided to do through your intuition, your senses, your knowing, how you're getting it. Maybe you even get an auditory, hey, go this way, do this, right? Or some message comes in that comes in a different way. You get a vision. That's when we're following or in flow with the things that light us up, when we're in flow with the the joy that's within us, when we're in flow with ourselves, with that authenticity, then the things that are meant for us are magnetized towards us. Like the frequency of authenticity is about 400 times stronger than love. Like that's incredible, because love's already a really powerful emotion. So let's see what we've got for the cards, or for the energy. Right now we've got a merry motive that came out, and we've also got imperfect harmony and the storyteller. So the storyteller card is really, you have to be careful what stories that you're telling yourself, right? And expectations can be an issue for many of us. If you're expecting for something to happen, you can be applying your energy in that particular direction, creating yourself like a little bit of a loop and sticking yourself, because that's not the way that it's coming. So it's like if you put all your eggs in one basket kind of energy. You want to allow it to show up in whatever way it's meant to. And I used to talk about this in the sense of if you're manifesting your ideal partner, right? And I used to joke around and I say, oh, hey, maybe you're doing it like we're watching, sorry, a message popped up. I have to have my phone turned away. Because then it's just a distraction, and I have like squirrel brain. So I see those things and I'm like, ooh, squirrel. And then it breaks me out of the direct information that I'm channeling, and it takes me a bit to try to figure out what I was saying, because it's not coming from my logic, it's coming through me a lot of the time. So you have to be careful of the expectations, and allow yourself to surrender to it, opening up in whichever way that it comes to you. So if in the sense of manifesting your ideal partner, you start getting caught on your ideal partner has to be this particular person. And I used to use the theory of, like you're sitting there and you're like, oh, I'm Captain America. He's my person. He's my man. It's absolutely a Captain America, and I'm manifesting him. But if Captain America is not your person, what if it's Superman, and you just spend all your time and all your focus on Captain America, blocking yourself because you're trying to call him in, versus calling in your ideal partner and allowing whoever shows up to show up, and that to be perfectly aligned for you, which it will be because it's your ideal partner. So in that way, if we say that the only way that I'm going to get a house is if somebody gives me money so that I can go buy it, or I make money so that I can go buy it. So you have those two avenues. Well, what about if someone just wanted to just give you a house and you didn't even have to get money or do that transfer at all? Or, what if you won it in a lottery, right? You'd played that, the house lotteries that they have at different times of year, dream house lotteries. Maybe you could win it that way. So by allowing yourself to receive it in whatever way and opening yourself up so expectations can be really challenging. The other part about it with the storyteller card is, if we keep telling the stories of the past, then we're going to keep repeating the past, because what our focus is applied upon, whether it strengthens as it goes. So first, your thoughts are energy that's applied in one particular direction. And then if your feelings get on board with what your thoughts are, well, then now you've got that in the same direction. So you've amplified that particular manifestation because of the energy. And then that creates that emotion, right? The thoughts and the feelings combined is that, and that energy that should be in motion, but it's not. We stick it inside of ourselves and get stuck, especially when we're in those repetitive loops of continually telling the story again and again and again. So if you're constantly telling the story of being a victim, then you're going to continue to be a victim. So how can you rewrite your story, or how can you change the way that you're talking about your story? How can you look at the things that you experienced before and see them from a different light, see them as an opportunity for growth? If there wasn't anything that was a struggle for you, like, anyone that is working in the light needs to thank the dark, because without the dark you wouldn't have made the leaps and bounds, or the growth and the evolution that you have made, because there'd be nothing to grow against, right? So the shadow is your biggest strength. That's something that you should thank. You should thank the shadow for being there, because the shadow is what makes you get into the trenches and do the work. The shadow is what makes you power through it. The shadow is what makes you say, I don't want to feel like that anymore, so I'm going to go in and I'm going to do the work to overcome that. Now, a lot of us don't. There's a lot of people out in society that are great examples, and that's exactly what they're meant to be, is an example of what happens if you don't do the shadow work. And they show us all the time as they devolve. And so your options are to rewrite that story. And how can you look at things as that's how you were the victor, as opposed to the victim? So I had to get a drink of that, and I have to put my thing on because I got a little bit of a chill there. Okay. So we've got the merry motive, right? So this is aligning with joy and making that your motive, or making, if you can have something that you connect with on that visceral, like in your heart and in your soul and throughout, if you can connect with that being the motive, something more valuable and connected to your soul, and that be the motive for why you're doing the things, you're going to see that significantly change the way things start to show up for you. It's incredible what having a positive motive for why you're doing the things, like if it's in alignment with your joy, if it's in alignment with love, if it's in alignment with gratitude, if it's so there's all these ways, in alignment with service, like how can you help the world be better? Right? How can you help humanity? And it doesn't have to be anything grandiose. It can be something as simple as picking up the garbage as you walk around the neighborhood. And you don't have to do it for accolades or for someone to, cheers you. You could, take and feed the birds. You could go and read to an elderly person who maybe can't read anymore. There's a ton of different ways, whether we're helping Mother Earth by doing something directly with her, or we're helping less fortunate, or we're helping the animals, right? We're doing it for the reasons why we should, those genuine, the genuine, I want to help you know, to help serve society. I want to help Mother Earth. I want to give back. But those are motives that when they're aligned with you in your heart and in your soul, that change, rather than I'm doing it. I talk about this in generosity of spirit. There's often times when I've said it before, I'm doing this out of generosity of spirit. And when you're truly aligned with generosity of spirit, then you're showing up to just be in service of the collective, and you're not looking for that exchange across the table, right? You're not there going, okay, I've been here for 15 minutes, so I expect that my hourly rate is this. So within 15 minutes, I should have made this much money through this avenue. But I'm doing this nice thing as service to society. And then at the end of it, you're like, well, I didn't make enough. That's not the right motive, right? And that's not being truly generous of spirit. And if there's any expectation of the return, then that's not generosity of spirit, right? There's still an underlying condition that exists there. There's still an exchange that's expected to happen. And when you can free yourself from that expectation of needing it to come back in any way at all, because you just trust, you trust in the universe, God, Allah, Buddha, whatever I like to call the source of all creation, because then it's very clear what exactly I mean. Because there's been so much muddled and muddied stuff done with names and words, and you know they're important, right? The words we use are important. So this merry motive. So we got this beautiful, we're telling ourselves new stories, we're aligning ourselves with our motives, so we're doing things because it lights us up, because it's in alignment with who we are. We step into perfect harmony, right? When we're in this, it's as if you step into a magical new world. It is incredible. You can't even imagine how things start to synchronize and you start to see magic around you. And you are singing a song from your soul space. I mean, it's your resonance, that vibrational frequency that you're sitting at. That's your what would we call that? Your prime frequency, your prime resonance, your ideal space. When you're in that, like you become so magnetic for everything that's meant for you. So it's important that you're in that alignment, and we know that we're getting to that space of perfect harmony. I'm like, where are my moon cards? We have to definitely look at the moon cards for today. Apparently we might have to look at those cards too, since one ended up in my hand. We got that card too. Oh, those are not the moon cards. Those are the wishcraft cards. Hang on a second, they're right here. Right here. Okay, so we got our basic moonology cards. Let's check in with that and see what we're getting with this this full moon in Cancer. What's going on with it? And I'm going to pull the chat over. I'm on my thing, so I want to. Hi, NMK. And hi, everybody. Hi, Krista. Hi, hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. That's what we're just gonna. Hi, everybody. It's too much to go back and say hi to everybody. All right. So let's see what we're getting for this Cancer Capricorn mashup that we have in this full moon in Cancer. What is the collective going to be experiencing, or what can we expect? Spirit, can I get a good message with that? All right, we've got the cardinal moon, and it is talking about being bold and making the first move. The cardinal moon, which would be, for a cardinal moon, it would be under Capricorn, Cancer, Aries, and Libra. Those are the cardinal signs. Those are the signs that are initiators. They are, the get up and go energy, especially Aries, being that it is also ruled by Mars, which is very forward motion. So interesting that we're getting the cardinal moon on a cardinal moon day. I think that's, very fitting. But this is about taking action. This is about moving forward. It's not about, sitting and if you've been waiting to get a message that it's time to move forward, that would be the message for you. And we've got the South Node coming out, which is telling you don't let your past hold you back. So again, more forward motion that's being spoken of in this. And I don't know if you feel it, but we feel it. And the collectives that I'm in, and I'm in a few, little groupings of people in my school, in fact, we talk about this, about how fast things are moving now, how, every day there's an inspirational conversation. And you can really start to sense that there's more and more of a divide in society. Like, it's really hard to talk with people who are still completely within the 3D and are still thinking that medications and the government and farm and like that everything's just as it always has been, and they're not aware of anything. That's a really challenging. Like, we're not able to speak. Like, you can see that the divide is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and we're not able to even speak to certain people anymore because we're on such different frequencies. And those of us that are up here in, like, that are working on raising our vibration and are sitting at those higher vibrations, we're not able to communicate with. We don't even, it's hard to even understand what they're saying. And they feel the same way about us, but I can only talk from this side, from my own experience. So we can't let the past hold us back, right? Your past was a lesson or an experience. That's all it was, and it's over. And when you can reconcile with, that experience and allow yourself just, to be compassionate towards those emotions that come up while you're releasing them, then you can move on towards the future, as opposed to, being stuck ruminating and repeating those experiences of the past. And I know this because I was somebody that did that before. I had a lot of experiences, challenging experiences as a child. Too many in fact to talk about, and I don't like to talk about them anyway. I like to talk about where I am now as opposed to where I was then, because this is a much better space, and I'd rather speak from a place of hope or a place of inspiration or from a place of being a warrior as opposed to from a place of being a victim. Right? And we can't focus on the things that we want to change like that, because the more that we focus on it, the more that it grows in our life, because we're basically setting our attention on it, and it's this big beam of energy highlighting to the source of all creation that you want more of that in your life because you're so focused on it. So why are you so focused and fixated on it? So turn away from that and let it go. And your past doesn't define you. Right? It's not about what you did in the past. It's about what you're doing now. Like, the biggest thing is, how did you, if it's something that you did before that you feel bad about, then, did you make reparations? Did you take accountability? Right? That's all you can do is, move through it in the most adult way possible. All right, so we had two of the cards fly out from the Moonology manifesting cards. And we have the Taurus one, the Taurus full moon, and we also have the full moon in Aquarius. And the Aquarius is one of the most innovative. It is the most original of the zodiac sign. And they are, eccentric, unique, which is a beautiful thing, because when you are comfortable and confident enough to be unique and to stand out, it's a powerful thing, because that you being in your uniqueness or your authenticity is a gain where you're going to align with the things that are meant for you. You're going to see things magnetize. You're going to see more miracles show up. You're going to see more blessings. You're going to see more synchronicities. You're just going to, in that being real. Taurus is asking us to detoxify. If we were experiencing a full moon in Taurus, then that would mean that the sun would be in Scorpio. So Scorpio is all about death and rebirth and transformation. So that would be the polar of Taurus, with Taurus being about the self and about self-worth and about finances and security. So it really undermines that. There's a transformation that happens within that. Well, part of the transformation that happens is realizing that you're no longer in alignment with certain people. So if you're really trying to raise your vibration and you're trying to elevate yourself and transcend, you're moving towards ascension, you're doing all of those things, then why would you allow somebody to constantly be pulling you back down to their level because you're sitting around their frequency? Or even if they're not completely pulling you down to their level, why would you want to, every time after experiencing being around somebody, that you have to do all of this work to establish your vibration back to where it was? Right? So we're starting to see that. We're starting to recognize that we can send them away with, like, let them go with love. It's not anything negative. It's just many of us are starting to realize that these connections that we have within our lives, some of them serve us for a long time, some of them they're there for a little time. But take the experience or take the growth that came from the connection, no matter how long it was, and allow that to transform you or to elevate you or move you to the next level. Okay? Do we have anything else from the Moonology cards? Spirit, can we get a good message? We've got the new moon in Libra. Oh my goodness. This is beautiful. Somebody needs this message. Beautiful colors on it, but know you are loved, right? And I think that we could probably do a demonstration with that. We could do a demonstration. Now, for those of you that are more balanced in your energy or more connected, you'll feel it better. For those that are a bit disconnected from their body and the physical sensations and experiences with that, it might be more of a subtle feeling, and so you might want to ask to amp it up. So I always, to connect with my spirit, with my higher self, I always put my hand on my heart space and I just sink my attention or my awareness down. And I feel myself actually sit into alignment, so I'm more upright this way as opposed to probably leaning a bit forward is how I was sitting before. Like, it actually pulls me back into this upright position. And I feel myself just sink into that space. And you can slow down your breath and deepen it to help yourself connect even more, or to help get the logic center offline if that's an issue for you. Just focus on your breath and slow it down and deepen it. And you can even focus on it coming in and out through your heart space at that slower and deeper rate. That's heart-focused breathing if you do that. And once you're in this space and you're not so elevated energy-wise, like, if you're feeling anxious or distressed or, not balanced or in rest state with your nervous system, just take a moment to get yourself there, because then you'll feel it better. That's why. And then you're just going to ask for a demonstration. And I'd said that I like to say the source of all creation, but you can use whatever word that you want that represents the higher power that you feel, see, know, sense, understand there to be. So you're just going to say, for me, like I said, I'm going to say, source of all creation, demonstrate the love that you feel for me in my body now, please. And you could say, God, demonstrate the love that you feel for me in my body now, please. And just sit with the feeling that comes into your body. And like I said, if it doesn't feel big and expansive, for some of us that can bring us to tears because we're so filled with love at that moment, and it may be something that we don't experience very often or haven't experienced on that scale. But if you're not feeling it, just ask for it to be amplified. So, ask God, amplify the feeling by 100. God, amplify and keep saying that until you feel it within your body, right? So it's just asking for that demonstration. God, demonstrate the feeling of love that you have for me in my body now, please. Right? And just feel that in your body. So there's a good way for you to connect and know that you are loved. And there's also people like me out there. I took on this thought process a long time ago, and I was like, if people can hate for no reason, then I can love for no reason. And I just decided I was going to love everybody unconditionally, knowing full well that loving someone unconditionally doesn't mean that they get to sit at your innermost table, right? The way that they treat you, and whether it's respectful or, if it's in the right ways, then they get to sit closer to the table the more that they are in alignment. But know that there's people out there like me that love you, so you're loved, right? Even if you're not getting that connection to God, know that there's lots of people out there that unconditionally love everybody and send out that love, right? Truth wave meditations, we're sending out a wave of love and peace and joy and unity and truth, and giving you some Father Sky and Mother Gaia energy in there as well. So you're getting all this beautiful energy, and it's there, it's available for you, so you don't have to go and find it in a bad space. You can come and get it from some of us that are doing it for the right reasons, and that are sending that wave of love around the world, or other things. Okay, we need some other cards in here, because we have to still check. Maybe we'll see what wisdom we're gonna get. Ooh, 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 which wisdom? We are all loved unconditionally. Exactly. All right. Can we get some wisdom? What is the wisdom that we need to have at this time? Right? Yep, then they go seeking for it everywhere else. Ooh. Oh, we got the birth and rebirth card, guys. There is a lot of death and rebirth happening, and many of us are aligning with our good morning, Salasia. Good morning, Crystal. How are you guys? Yes, we have class today for the grade 2 students at noon. So in a half an hour, we have class. If you're looking for support and assistance on your illumination, transcendent ascension journey, then you can come and check out our school. Everybody has to start in grade 1, which is the journey from shadow to light. And this is where we're working on our trauma and establishing foundational practices. This is where we're really connecting to our breath and working with our inner child and doing the shadow work. Grade 2 is the journey to awareness, and this is where we go from me to we, and we start stabilizing our energy and raising our vibration, and looking at energy practices and connecting with our purpose and aligning with more of our truth and lifting the veil. And then grade 3 is the journey to illumination, and this is where we really connect to our energy, and we start to actually affect change globally. So this is, and we're working on really understanding the purpose of why we incarnated at this time. And transmuting a lot of like intergenerational and ancestral trauma. So that's the school, and then you get to graduate as a guardian of light. So we have our death, or our birth, rebirth. We also have letting go coming out, which is just more confirmation about what we had before. And interestingly enough, 44, which is the number that your angels and guides are near. So there is this beautiful rebirth that's happening, and we're learning to let go. We're learning to let go of the things that aren't in alignment with us. We're going to be experiencing some communication from people, and I'm feeling like the communication that we're going to be getting is going to be more from our guides, more from our senses, from our extrasensory gifts, and as opposed to somebody coming and speaking to us, right? There's going to be that telepathic communication that's going to be happening, or we're going to be communicating with Mother Nature. We're going to be communicating with the trees and the plants and the animals and things like that. So the dog also came out. The dog is about loyalty, sincerity, and unconditional love. The cards are all messed up now. And unconditional love, right? Right as we're talking about that, as we're talking about unconditional love, we get the dog. And the dog teaches us how to live. The dog just doing the dog things. The dog takes it easy. He's just having fun. He eats his food. He has his naps. And he's just loving his life. I know my dog's right there having a big old nap after he had his walk. Ooh, we've got the honeybee coming out, guys. The bee is very lucky, abundant sign. In another deck of cards, the Wisdom of the Oracle, there's a card called the Land of Milk and Honey, or it's called Milk and Honey actually, but and it speaks about that land of milk and honey, where it's a languid time where you are lazing around, and like time is slowed, and it's sweet and it's rich. And the honeybee represents abundance, because of when you think about how much work goes into making honey. And when you would get honey, it would only be for a short time, and you would really enjoy that opportunity to have that sweetness, right? And they're very industrious, they're very organized collective, right? So, and a lot of us are finding that we're starting to find our little groupings around the world, and we're like, you and me and me and you and you and you and you, we're all family. And we're family from eons and eons. We've been family, and we've done these things before together. And you're my persons. You guys are my persons. So we're starting to see those connections start to happen more and more and more. And really the wave of the future is talking more along the lines of connecting into these collectives. So having these more community living, where we connect into these soul families, and we come together, and we all work together to have food, to have whatever it is that we need. So somebody who's really good at carpentry, they're the carpenter. Somebody that's really good at growing food, they're the gardener. Somebody that's really good at making food, they're the cook. Somebody that's really good at healing, they're the healer. And so on and so forth. And everybody just comes together, and collectively we have these communities. And this is something that's coming, but this is a sweet victory, right? It is a sweet victory. And I know a lot of us are starting to feel that energy of victory, that energy of things moving. Now, whether that's because, like you're looking at this disclosure, and, seeing the stuff that's going on around the world, if it's just intuitively you're feeling it energetically in your body. I know I am. I feel like, again, the wave keeps coming up. The wave, right? It feels like the wave, and it's hit its peak, and it's just like it's ready. It's just getting ready to just, and away we go. We have the serpent. The serpent is all about knowledge. The serpent is also about healing, and the serpent is about rebirth, right? Shedding and letting go. And it really exemplifies a lot of what is going on right now. And very interestingly, the snake and shedding its skin. It's very cool. Very cool. And we've got the wind fairy. The wind fairy is a wind being thoughts, right? The wind being the air element. Sorry, the wind being the wind being the air element. I can just I can get it out. I really can. So the air element represents communication. It's your thoughts. It's your intellect. Your mind, right? And it's a masculine energy, just like the air signs are masculine energy, the fire signs are masculine energy, and then the earth and water are feminine energies. The wind fairy, when she's coming out, it's really making you be aware of the fact that you have to be aware of your thoughts. What are you thinking? Because if you're looking at, like I said, if you've ever fished before, and you know how a bobber sits in the water bouncing like that, and it creates those little ripples, that's what you're doing in the quantum field. You're bobbing along in the quantum field, and you're sending out ripples into it. And those ripples are your thoughts, the words that you speak, the feelings that you feel, and so on and so forth. So if your thought is negative, and your feelings are negative, and then you're speaking negative, then all of the vibration that you're sending out into the quantum field, into that divine matrix, is negative. So what's going to come back? Negative. Obviously, it's going to come back negative. If you're sitting in there and you're positive, and not toxic positivity, right? You can, you become aware of what's going on, and you become aware that that's what's happening. I'm going to observe that that's what's happening. I'm going to validate that I'm entitled to feel the way that I am, process beyond it, move, and then I'm going to shift. I'm going to shift because it doesn't help me to keep my focus there. If I keep my focus there, it's going to grow. So I shift and I put my focus on the good. I put my focus on what is the lesson that I can learn from this? What is the growth that can occur from this? Or what is the future that I'm working towards? And so I'm going to keep my eye on the prize, so to speak. So if we're sitting in that positive energy, then again, positive, 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 out, 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 and then it's coming back positive. One of the things that I'll be, which is it's good for me to note for you though, is that you have to remember every word that you speak, like it's spelling, right? Same thing with writing things down, but the words that you speak is firming up the thoughts, just like the emotions are then solidifying the thoughts even more. And then we take action, which is very grounded and solidified. That is going to be based upon the thoughts and the feelings and the words that we're speaking. Your brain has no concept of anything but self. The only thing that exists in the world, according to your brain, is self. It gets its information through the senses that you have, and realistically, the biggest thing that you're getting your information from is your heart. Because your heart radiates in an energy field, in a toroidal field that's anywhere from 6 to 9 feet from your body in a big circle, like a big giant bubble that goes all around you. You can't touch the top. You can't, the bottom goes below your feet. It's this big ball that you're in. And it generates through your heart, up through your chakras, and in through your chakras in this big donut of energy. And your heart in that energetic bubble is sensing things that are going to happen before they even happen. So before the person speaks, your energy has picked up the thought and registered that. You know what's coming at you. So your heart knows that someone plans to embarrass you. So your heart gets that energy of that person's going to make me feel embarrassed. So I need to tell my brain embarrassment is coming in. And my brain's going to say, okay, so when we're embarrassed, what needs to happen? Well, I'm going to increase your temperature. I'm going to flush your cheeks. I'm going to cause this cascade of reactions. Because that's what your brain is. It's the one that says these things have to go. This technique has to happen. This has to happen. This cascade. So it's really an operating system that is managed by the heart, right? There's a huge neural network that runs from your heart to your brain, and then a smaller neural network that runs back to your heart. And you actually have 3 brains if we want to look at it from the concept of the brain being an operating system or running the show. Anyway, the operating system running the show. So you have a brain in your gut, you have a brain in your heart, and you have a brain in your head. So there's the 3 brains that we have. And sorry, that little floaty thing that went on by that I don't know where it went, it made me look, and it distracted me from what I was saying. It distracted me. Interesting. It'll come back, but it means it's time to sip some tea, guys. 11:44, and it was 42:44, so I seen a whole bunch of 4s there, which is really cool. Yeah, anyway, it's not coming back to me yet, so must not be important. All right, let's see what else. We got to get some gateway activation cards out, and we'll see what they're saying, what we're getting for our full moon in Capricorn. See what's coming up for that. Lemurian seed codes. Okay, so I'm going to show that up nice and close so that you can get. These are these beautiful crystals that are clear quartz that actually have what almost looks like a barcode inside of them. They're really, really fascinating. They vibrate very highly. The Lemurian seed codes are they're very sensitive, right? So embracing that sensitivity. Anyone that has past memories of Lemuria or knows about Lemuria, they were very, very sensitive. It's a full moon in Cancer, opposing Capricorn. The Lemurian seed codes is also asking to about uniqueness and living with grace. So one of the things that I did last year, I was part of, luckily, and this was with Denise at Spiritual Warrior Wellness Coaching. They were closing off a series of retreats that they'd been doing, and I was lucky enough to be invited to the closing ceremonies. And I hadn't anticipated that I'd have to speak or anything like that, although I knew that there was a possibility. But they ended up at the end, I got to be a part of one part of the retreat. And what I said at that point was that my goal or my intention going forward, like my intention that I was setting at that time, was to recognize the divine being in me and to recognize the divine being in everyone else. And so then I could, and so that's what's been such a significant change, I think, is setting that intention, right? And that's the living with grace part, is how can you see the humanness in everybody that's around you, but simultaneously see the divine being that exists beyond this physical incarnation, the divine being that, you know, has been blinded through the veil, just like you were blinded in the veil at your point in time. And, you know, that, but that there's that divine being that exists within that. It's a beautiful concept, living with grace, and it's really a part of, you know, in that sense of reseeding Christ consciousness will involve the bringing of grace back to the world. And of course, Merkaba. So many of us are getting our Merkaba activated. As you elevate your frequency, what ends up happening is your light body gets activated. And that's what this Merkaba is your light body. So there's this transcendent and ascension. So we're literally rising up. And I know that my students are. I know many people that are here are, for sure. We're seeing a lot of people. And I'm a believer that the reason why you get called to my page is one of two reasons. Always it's alignment. It's just, what is the alignment? So the alignment could be that you are aligned with me in frequency and in, you know, in thoughts and stuff, and that you're seeing the world in the same way. The other thing is that you may align with me because I have some medicine for you. I have some medicine for you to get, because when you come in, I'm going to irritate your shadows, which is going to give you the opportunity to heal and grow. So it can be that there's the opposing energy, but it's still aligned energy, right? If you allow yourself to look at those experiences as the beautiful opportunity for growth, that they're allowing you to move towards transcendent, you are ascending. And I love this picture. It is just gorgeous with that Merkaba and everything that's in there. And I don't know if you can pick it up, but there's the seed of life is also in the background in there as well. Emerald tablet activation and angelic frequency. So those cards, the angels are here. We are seeing that. I don't know if you've seen any experiences with orbs or anything like that, or if you're in a space where there's other traffic in the skies, so to speak. And hi, Mira. But if you are, I know that many of us, some of the things that we're seeing are looking very angelic, but the angels are always here, and it's just that the connection is strengthening. And the message that my guides always want me to tell people, because maybe they're not communicating with their guides very easily, and that is that you have, for spirit guides to intervene, you have to ask them. They can't just intervene in your life. So if you need help, ask for help. Ask your guides to help guide you. If you're having a difficulty in understanding what the communication is with your guide, then I would say what I say to grade 2 class, which is that you have to make meditation a practice, right? We need to, in grade 1, make breath work a practice, because you're looking at establishing safety within your nervous system, and, you know, moving yourself through moments of emotional distress to bring yourself back to rest and digest. In grade 2, we're looking at meditating, because we want to be connecting with our guides, with our senses, with the other senses that we have, right? So being able to see outside of that particular visual frequency, or hear outside of the normal spectrum of auditory, right? We heighten those gifts by sitting in silence and stillness. While we're busy running around and doing and doing and doing, right, you're not giving yourself the opportunity for things to come to you. And when you're in your mind thinking, it's really hard to hear through all that noise, right? So the silence and the stillness is a beautiful practice to have. And if you're saying, you know, like you want to be better at something, then you have to think of it in terms of anything that you'd want to be better at. Practice and effort over time is going to make you better. 18 minutes a day is all it needs. 18 minutes a day, if you put 18 minutes a day practicing anything, so less than 20 minutes practicing something, you will be leaps and bounds ahead of somebody that obviously hasn't in 1 year. And in 1 year, you'd probably be a master at it. So if you want to do it, then do it. And that's the only way you're going to get better at it. So many of us that have the gifts, and people are like, I want what they have. Well, if you do, then do what we did to get here, which was we did the work. We sat in silence. We sat in stillness. We allowed ourselves to trust what we were sensing, right? We did those things. So the Emerald Tablet is about cosmic ordering, divine alchemy, and conscious manifesting. You can be an unconscious manifester, which is what many of us are doing, because we're not aware that the thoughts that we're thinking, the words that we're speaking, the feelings that we're feeling, the actions that we're taking are in fact creating our reality every moment. That is how we are manifesting. So then you get all these new age people coming out, and I'll teach you all these ways to manifest. I'll teach you how to manifest. And you know how you manifest? You get real with yourself. You clear your trauma, because your trauma can be a major block for receiving what's meant for you. You delve into your authenticity, because on the opposite side of repulsion is magnetism, and the most magnetic thing is your authenticity. And we think that we're being authentic a lot of the time, and then we'll realize, oh, wait a minute, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. I used to think that working exclusively with trauma and helping people move through their trauma and their mental health and stuff like that, I thought that's what I was doing. That's what I started my company, Mind, Body, Spirit, Healthy Self, was because I knew that you had to have a healthy mind, a healthy body, and a healthy spirit to have a healthy self. But it was all founded in helping people navigate through their trauma and their mental health, and, you know, get them to a safe and stable place with a good resiliency toolkit. And that was the foundation of the company. But it has moved so far beyond that. So you have to allow yourself the opportunity for growth. But we are in this time of, you know, like divine alchemy, where we are transmuting pain, we transmute fear, we transmute and change and transform those things. And that's what alchemy is all about, right? When you can take something that was painful and laugh at it, or when you can take something that was painful and pour love into it, if you can walk into the shadow and bring the light, that's how you alchemize the things in your life. And cosmic ordering, there's always a divine order that's occurring behind the scenes that we're not aware of, right? That's going on. So this is a pretty powerful energy that we're getting for this full moon in Cancer. The sun is in Capricorn, sorry. It's really powerful energy that we're getting, and I don't know if you feel it, but if you do, leave me a comment and let me know how you're feeling it. If you've never been here before, please do subscribe and follow me. I go live Monday, Tuesday, and Thursdays. Mondays is more of a longer reading type, like today was, or it's pick a card readings and things like that. Tuesday is Tarot Tuesday, and Thursdays is Transformation Thursday. So on Tarot Tuesday, you could get your own card or potentially mini reading. And if you're interested in learning more about the school, you can find out more on my website, or if you want to purchase any of the books that, you know, and I have many, they're all available on Amazon.com around the world. Actually, they're on Amazon around the world. So you can order them through there. I have several books, not just those 3 kids books, but other books as well. And I do standalone and other, there's other stuff available at on the website. There's a library, there's personal development where you can get readings, or you can get like a human design reading or gene key reading. There's self-study, so there's some courses that are recorded, so you could take a course, or you could sign up for some one-to-one healing with me. I also forgot that this card popped out when I was picking up the cards earlier, so I'm going to give you the angel number. Whoops. Angel number of 1441. So this number is about unique skills, life goals, mission, sense of self, honesty, important projects. It's that time of intense self-development. Focus your mind on your craft. You already have what it takes to succeed, but practice makes you a master. It also serves to find your true purpose. Leveling up in your career or business is of priority right now, and that is something that we're definitely experiencing. So there's lots of different ways that I can help you. If you have any questions, go to my website and check it out. Otherwise, just come and hang out with me here, or go and hang out with Truth Wave, and support and join the wave. Just join the wave. Just you will want to join the wave. You will. It's the wave of love and truth and peace and joy and unity. All right, guys, I love you. I'll see you back here tomorrow. For those of you that are in grade 2, we meet right now. Mwah. Love you guys.